Hey guys, it's In the Rough Crystals, and it's been such a long time, right? So much stuff has been going on since I did my last YouTube video. So, I moved to Florida. That's one thing. So, that was like a huge move. So, I've been transitioning into a new environment, which has been interesting. Um, and I've been doing a lot of personal healing work, so I thought that and I felt like it was very important for me to kind of unplug in a sense and make sure that I'm in a space where I'm nurturing and I'm, able to take care of myself. So um, then I was called to like come back and get back into doing some of the energy work and doing some of the readings for the collective and so forth. So I've been doing a lot of writing. I have a lot of workshops that are coming forth. If you don't follow me, make sure you follow. I have two Instagram pages. The first one is In the Rough Crystals, and that page is mainly just crystals that are available. And Chris underscore In the Rough Crystals is more of my personal page. I do a lot of writings. I post a lot of my thoughts. I post things just about my day-to-day life. I post a lot of my workshops that come forth. My current workshop that is available starting October 1st is our excuse me, is our Earth Magic workshop. So it's going to be from October 1st to October 30th. And it's focused on doing it's very in-depth, it's very deep healing work. We're going to be working with different archetypes, different elementals, and different energies each day. And there's going to be journaling and meditation for each one of those energies. And we're also going to be having kind of a weekly live video meetup with the participants that are in this workshop, and we'll go over like any insights that have come forth in terms of these energies. And then we're going to also be able to do a group meditation where we use the energies from the week and we integrate them into the earth grid. So we're going to be working with ley lines, and we're going to also be working with some of the megalithic energy sites and vortices that are on the earth grid. We're also going to be working with some ancient crystal deva symbols. So we're going to also be working with those and integrating those energies into the ley line. So you will need like a globe. You will need either a globe or a world map to do a lot of this work as well. But it's going to be really, really, really important. Very connected with divine feminine energy, Mother Earth, Pachamama. So just very beautiful, nurturing, healing work. And we'll be able to use this work not only for self-healing, but we're also understanding how this important healing work that we do within ourselves correlates to how we help heal Mother Earth and how we help heal the planet as well. So we're going to be also working within collective energy. So this is very important work, and I put a call out to 6 people, 6 light workers that feel called to do this work. There's more details about it over on my Instagram page, Chris underscore In the Rough Crystals. So if it resonates with you, the energy exchange is posted on the page. There's 3 different options that are available for the exchange for this, and the entire exchange amount will be donated to relief for Hurricane Irma, Maria, and Harvey as well. So I'll be donating all of those funds to help go towards the relief for this cause. I have like a really awesome friend here in Florida who he's so awesome. I actually met him traveling on a plane, and he goes to different different sites, different places where they need help and they need assistance from like natural disasters and different tragedies, and he goes and he offers assistance. So versus so much working with Red Cross and different organizations where we're not really sure if this money is getting to these people who need it. You know, it's really about, you know, us trying to physically get there if possible, and he's one of the resources that I have to where he's able to travel to these places readily and be able to bring, you know, food and water and assistance, clothing, you know, whatever is needed physically to people that actually need it, so we can make sure that these people are actually getting the help and the assistance that we need. So it's very important, very, very big. So go check it out over on Instagram. And I hope that the people who are called to it really, really enjoy it. I feel like it's going to be very beautiful and very deeply healing work. So, so today, because I do 2 readings throughout the month, so we are going to get back into our crystal readings, our crystal consciousness readings. So, the way that I'm going to work the crystal consciousness reading now is I'm going to do 4 cards, and each card is going to represent each week in the month and the energy that that we will be working in, and how it's going to impact and have you know, an impact on the collective. So I'm going to see kind of what comes up, and we're working within October, so energy is coming through from October 1st to October 30th for the collective. Let's see. So if you follow me on my In the Rough Crystals page, or if you shop live with me and purchase crystals, I know there's a lot of people that follow me over from Periscope. My website, intheroughcrystals.com, is going to be launching on October 7th. So that's going to be predominantly crystal sales. And coming very soon, we're going to be launching a very special light worker and healing website. So that's going to be coming soon. So it's a lot of beautiful things emerging. A lot of beautiful things emerging out of endings as well. So and we're in a very prime and ripe cycle for change, for letting go. So let's see, we got one more card that's coming through for week 4. All right, so let me just tap into the energy here. All right. So just kind of what I feel overall for what has come up is there's a lot of distractions. There's going to be a lot of on the world platform, there's going to be a lot of distractions because there is a lot of energetic shifts happening. A lot of the collective are really awakening. A lot of the collective are starting to kind of come out of, like, kind of what came into my mind is like the zombie haze, where we're so caught up in, you know, day to day, what's going on in the world, what's going on social media. I'm sorry, all the dogs are barking, but we get so caught up in all these worldly things, but we don't realize that we're walking through life with our head down. And a lot of people on a mass level are starting to pick their head up, and they're starting to pay attention to what's going on, and they're starting to question their purpose, what they're here for. They feel like deep inside of themselves there's something more, and there is a reason and there is a purpose why they are here. And it's kind of like something that's ancient, something that's been long and lost is sparking, that wants to awaken um, within everyone, within everyone's being. And I feel like there's an energy, and the energy feels really, it feels really heavy, and it feels really dark. Like there's this, like I kind of see like this overcast that's trying to snuff out, kind of snuff out people, and pull them away from this awakening energy that's happening. Um, I've been feeling a lot of, especially in the past 2 weeks, a lot of solar plexus energy, like a lot of solar plexus activation. Um, so I'm gonna go into week one, and what came up for week one is Garnet. So Garnet has a very protective quality, a very protective energy to it. Um, and I feel like Garnet helps to protect you from the haze. It helps to ground you. It helps to build a stable foundation. Um, I also feel like Garnet, for some people, can connect you to your roots. So you may start to work within your ancestral history. Um, you may start to work within, like, if you have a family lineage that, where everyone, they were woodworkers, you may become activated to start working with wood. Like, even if you're not aware that that is in your, your genetic lineage, like, you may start to attract an interest to things that either may be in your family trade or lineage, or if you don't know that those things are there within that lineage, like, you may just have this sudden urge to start working with crystals, for example. And then you may learn that, your great great grandmother was like into crystals and had a collection, or like a lot of gifts are being awakened. A lot of I feel like for a lot of people, it's very 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 ancient gifts, though. I don't feel like I don't know if I want to use like surface. I don't know if I want to use surface gifts, but I feel like, and I keep looking, like, I have like an altar in my room, and I keep looking at, I have a mandala that was created for me, and it's an ancestral mandala. And I keep looking at it as I'm talking about it, because surrounded by that mandala, I have a lot of crystals and different things that are, associated with, and like connecting with your ancestors. So I really feel like they can absolutely be gifts, but it just feels very ancient, like very ancient, like, I feel like this energy isn't like your grandmother or your great grandmother. I feel like when we talk about, great cycles of time, like the Dark Ages, the Medieval Ages, the Bronze Ages, like, I feel like we're we're talking about gifts from these different ages, and the way that I see it is like these, like I'm seeing like a timeline, like here's this section, like here's, you know, the medieval age, here's the dark age, here's the bronze age, here's the golden age. Like I'm seeing like sections, and there's all these different gifts from your ancestral lineages from very ancient times. And what I'm kind of seeing is that like it's going like this, like it's kind of like these timelines are getting closer together, or there's kind of like a convergence almost. So like everything's being pulled in into like a single focus, which is interesting because week 4 is Azurite, and I don't want to jump too far ahead, but like week 4 is Azurite, and most people that work with Azurite know that one of the key energies of Azurite is to help you focus. So I feel like um, a lot of these, like you might have like these dreams, you might have flashes of images, and you're like, where is this coming from? Or you might feel kind of like a voice that's guiding you to do something new, go in a different direction, try a new trade or a hobby or something that's completely, I feel like for a lot of people it's going to be something that's completely different than who they um, who they have been moving in life as. Um, so I feel like there's going to be a group of people that they kind of brush it off because it's just so out there, that it's just weird to them. Um, and there's going to be some people who have been kind of searching. They've kind of been in a space where they've connected, and they know that there's something that's calling. It's like a song. It, like what came in my head was like the Little Mermaid, where it's like it's like Ariel's voice, where she's like la la la, and it draws like the prince in. It's like there's this calling, there's this calling of like purpose that's coming in. And it's like, even if it's so different and so unique to the direction that you've been moving in life, it's like that that call is this new direction you need to go in. Because remember, we are in a period of change. We're in a period where we have to let go of things that don't resonate with us. We're letting go of things that are no longer in alignment with our purpose. Um, so I feel like this. I feel like Garnet's a call to purpose. But again, I still feel there is a huge like this planetary overshadowing energy that's trying to block that out. So the energy is where more people just like, what is that? Let me, no. And what's being employed is distraction. Like, if you know you're someone who meditates, and I've had it happen where it's like, I'm meditating, and then I might see something or I hear something, and it pulls me away from what I was doing and being in that centered and connected space. Like, I feel like that's what's happening. Like, it's not about just if you're someone that meditates all the time. You can be someone that's very spiritual and very, very connected, and you can be someone that's religious, or whatever, and you can still be distracted by things that are on TV, by politics, by fear-based, fear-based programming. Like, I didn't even know like, so apparently there was this thing that I guess the end of the world was supposed to happen on the 23rd or something like that. And like, it's funny because I've never even heard of this until like, I think it was like literally like the 20th or something. Like, I was watching I think Twinstrology on YouTube, and she was talking about, I'm like, what is she talking about? And she said the same thing. She's like all these people have been messaging me about the 23rd, and I'm like, I haven't heard anything about this either. But again, like I feel like people who encounter these type of fear-based tactics that are being used only to distract them and create blocks, um, I feel like when you encounter that type of energy, it almost always means that um, there are fears and phobias within yourself that you need to heal, um, that you're not really paying attention to. Um, and I never caught wind of this. Like I remember there was like a time, like, okay, I think the last kind of thing I heard like that was like the millennium thing, like, the year 2000, like that whole, like, whatever. But um oh, and then there was, I had to think for a second. And there was was it the 2012 thing? The 2012? I think that was the last thing I heard. But other than that, it's just I wasn't even aware of this. So I know I got so off base, but um, yeah, I just feel like, again, like, you know, there's a lot of things being used to get us to engage in distractions, and it could be anything. Like I found myself slightly starting to engage in to what was going on with the comments that Donald Trump made about people kneeling, and especially people in sports and that sort of thing, because I like sports, I like football. So it's like I found myself a little bit starting to engage in it, but it's like, something like caught me and was like, snap out of that. Like, this is, it's trying to, it's basically siphoning energy from people. Like, people, it's like you can be in a centered and connected space, and then something comes in and it's basically trying to be like, hey, hey, hey. And it's like, as soon as you like go and engage in it, then basically it starts to take your energy. So your energy starts to go over there, and it stops being in a center place or being connected with spirit. So you have to be very, very careful about, like, a lot of the debates and stuff you get in, like, on social media and topics and stuff like that. You have to really, I think you can really read those things, and then you need to decide, is this something that resonates with my spirit? Does this uplift my spirit? If it's something that's still spreading fear, if it's something that's spreading kind of like um, a hate mentality, then it's like you need to avoid even engaging in that conversation, because even though those topics may be important, um, a certain mentality is still being spread about them, and it's not creating a solution. So it's spreading more hate, spreading more fear. So you have to be very, very careful about those sorts of things, because we see those distraction things being employed, and in October I feel like they're going to continue to be heightened, to pull us away from really connecting with the energy that's coming in, to awaken a different part of our blueprint to our purpose. So that's kind of what I'm getting for week one. Week two, um, I'm feeling addiction energy coming up again. Um, so again, I'm seeing this kind of as a two-sided thing. There's one group of people working in a certain energy, and there's another group of people working in a different energy. So I'm feeling like what's happening on a collective level is like you have a choice. You know what I mean? Like, you can choose heaven or hell if that's your space of thinking. Um, you can choose light or dark, any sort of those kind of comparisons, whatever resonates with you. But I feel like that's kind of what's going on. Like, you can choose, you know, spirit, you can choose love or fear, that sort of thing. So I kind of feel like that's like the energy's kind of like split as into like, you know, everyone may start here, you know, in this space, but it's like, you know, what direction are you kind of going? And I feel like the energy for everyone that's kind of coming in, number one, I'm feeling the violet flame coming in a lot. So I feel like transmuting energy. I'm feeling a lot of transmuting energy, um, changing things from one state to another. Um, but I feel like any addictions that you may have, um, they're going to come up, they're going to surface. Um, so I think it's very important in the month of October that you pay attention to what comes up. It could be sexual addiction. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. I ate before this video, but it could be drinking, it could be drugs, it could be codependency, um, anything that comes up to you that's an addiction, because addiction can be so vast. You know, addiction can be so vast, and it's so powerful. It's still so much energy from us, and I feel like it's important to really take this time in October to work through, um, in meditation or prayer or journaling or, you know, contemplation, and really work through the addictions that are coming up for you, and work on transmuting them. And because, you know, when you conquer and you heal an addiction, but and it's what's kind of coming through, like, spirit's just like, okay, it's one thing to recognize, like, hey, I have an addiction to sex, and so the solution isn't to be like, well, because I have an addiction to sex and that's bad, let me not have sex. You know what I mean? Like, that's not the solution to the problem. Like, you have to start to peel the veil back, and you have to start to peel the layers as to why this behavior exists. Because sex isn't bad. Like, in a very loving and connected and shared space, it's a beautiful thing. Um, but you have to start to peel back the layers. Like, am I addicted to being with various partners because I feel I'm not loving myself and I feel empty inside, so I'm trying to find love in connecting with other people in a sexual way. Like, you have to really get to the nitty gritty. You need to get to the underlying layers as to why that addiction exists. And we're going to be exploring, on an individual and a collective level, these addictions, these patterns of behavior, these cycles. Like, I've seen like a clock, like these cycles that have repeated itself. Like, these patterns, these addictions that are coming up aren't like just these new things. These are cycles and patterns, that have been repeating themselves for a long period of time. So I'm really feeling like, I'm feeling for a lot of people, this may be karmic. I feel like this could be karmic patterns that are coming up to be released and transmuted during this time. So again, there's going to be that group of people who, they allow themselves to be distracted from the work that they need to do to really, really heal, and move into a new space. Because you got to remember, when we're doing any release work, when we're doing any letting go, even though it may be painful and it may be difficult, you know, on the other side of that, there's always something beautiful and there's something new. And contracts came up. So if we continue to be in that space and we don't do that work, all we're doing is we're setting ourselves up to basically renew that contract. We're renewing that cycle within our patterning, within our DNA. So we're just going to continue that behavior into another cycle. But it's going to come back around again. And it's like, we all know, like, when we don't learn the lesson that life brings forward to us to learn at a specific time, then it's like, all right, we got to repeat this again, but this time we got to, you know, we got to create circumstances and situations, and it may be more dramatic and it might be more painful, and then you might get dished a karmic lesson again. So I feel like a lot of people are going to wake up to these cycles. They're going to start seeing these patterns. They're going to start seeing behaviors within themselves. They're going to start seeing repetitive patterns and behaviors in people that they are tied to. A lot of what's coming forth, as well as like karmic relationships with people. I feel like a lot of karmic relationships are going to be ending. I know that even like a huge karmic relationship has had ended for me recently. Just a lot of, you know, I'm feeling like for some people there's going to be a person. I'm not saying it's just like an intimate relationship. It could be a friendship that's a karmic relationship. But it's definitely someone you've had cycles and cycles and cycles of, you know, experience with. And, you know, it's time for it to come to a close. It's time for both people to learn the lessons that they need to learn so that they can change and kind of level up and move forward. And we know that, like, you know, like energy attracts like energy. They mirror each other. And so when even if one person acknowledges and recognizes that shift and they're awakened to it and they do this transmutation work, they work and they heal through whatever this pattern of addiction is, then they start to vibrate at a different rate. So what happens is, like, this other karmic person over here, they fall out of resonance. You know, they fall out of resonance with you. So there's the split happens, you know what I mean? Like, that split happens. So, and that's not to say this person's less than you or you're higher than this person. It's just that it's time for your energy to move somewhere else. So I see like a lot of that happening for people. And, you know, I also noticed too, like, the masculine and the feminine energy are very close together. I feel like the masculine energy is definitely working through fear energy right now. Doing like inner child work, and I feel like the feminine is I feel like the feminine's holding like this space of love for the masculine. Like, she feels like the masculine needs to be kind of nurtured, like something really intense is going on with the masculine. And I actually feel like the masculine energy is, even though I feel like the masculine energy is scared, because the masculine is like, I know I have to change. I know that I can't keep going on like this. I know I need to change. So I have to look at these things. Even with that, I feel like there's this energy where the masculine is like open to the feminine coming in a little bit now and being like, okay, like, it's okay if you hold space for me. It's okay if you nurture me. It's okay if you show me how to love myself. So I feel like that's really, really big too. I don't know, this union energy came through. So I feel like that came through because if you are a twin flame, I feel like your karmic relationships. So if your twin flame is in a relationship with their karmic partner, or both of you guys in a relationship with a karmic partner, I feel like you may be splitting from your karmic partner. So that could be breakups, that can mean divorces, that sort of thing. Um, but I want to say, even though I do talk about twin flames, I don't like, I know there's people out there and there's people on YouTube that specialize specifically in doing twin flame readings and guidance, and that's not me. But I feel like there's a split from the karmic partners, and each person, doesn't matter whether it's the person who holds the masculine or feminine energy. What I feel like is happening is that the masculine and the feminine are recognizing the masculine and feminine energy within themselves, and they're starting to work within that energy within themselves, healing both of those aspects so that both of those aspects can work in harmony within themselves. And what that's going to do is create an energy where both people start to become whole. They become like a unified energy within themselves, and they'll start to attract back to each other. So there's still healing work that has to happen in that space. So I feel like that part of the message is for someone who's or a certain group of people that are listening, and that's why it came through. But I mean, definitely, with this, and this is second week energy, this amethyst work, just addictions came through, and I feel like you have to really be in a space where you're not hard on yourself. I caught myself, in having a conversation with a friend, and I was talking about how in my family line there is a poverty mindset. And I was talking about doing different things, whether it's affirmations or what we speak into existence. And I was talking about how I started recognizing certain things, the way that I was thinking about abundance, and the way that my attitude was about gratitude. And I what I specifically said was, well, this was the poison mindset. And I feel like it's important to not vilify whatever it is that you're experiencing, or you're healing. I think it's good to not look at it as being like, that's bad, that's the devil. Like, I think you can recognize the energy and see it as energy, but I think what's bigger is to look at it as this energy that is here to help you. You have this energy and you see it as being whatever you view it as. But let's just look at it as like, okay, here's this energy here, and I know I need to shift whatever this energy is. So how can I transmute this energy into what I want to create or what I want to change it into? And I think that's how we have to kind of look at it. So I feel there's like a level of like just nurturing yourself, being humble. So I read these cards in terms of energy, but I feel like, especially with amethyst, I feel like not only just in the energy of amethyst, I feel like a lot of people need to start working with amethyst right now. So if you own a piece of amethyst, now would be the time to probably get it out, especially in the second week. if you're someone that feels heavily distracted, um, you feel yourself getting pulled away a lot by things that are going on in the world, I would recommend wearing it as a piece of jewelry so it's always on you. Um, you can also get like a cluster that you keep in your space, in your office, that sort of thing. So, let's see. So, I feel like this is why solar plexus is coming up too. We have pyrite. Um, all right, so pyrite has been resonating a lot with solar energy, the sun, with the Ra. And there's a lot of definitely solar plexus activations. There's a lot of, I've definitely been, um, I've been outside every day, um, downloading, getting solar codes. Um, it's a lot of fire energy. I also feel like there's a lot of Kundalini activations, and very intense ones. I know there's a period of time where shifting energy happens slowly, and for the past 24 months, a lot of rapid energy has been happening, and a lot of shifts have been happening, um, and it's the quickening is still happening. In the past, like, we would have these Kundalini activations that, you know, rise up through our chakras and our seven gates to clear out any energies that don't serve us, so we can, level up and step into our highest path, our highest purpose, our highest destiny. And what is happening now, I feel like people are, it's like, go. And people are going through all these shifts and all this energy, erratic energy, and this change is happening for people, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. But it's not just happening like, all right, this happens and I'll see you in another 7 years for another Kundalini activation. It's like, oh, nope, we're going to go again. We got to change. We really got to change. You really got to change. So, like, I feel like there is a lot of Kundalini activations happening. So, I feel like if you've been doing a lot of the healing work, a lot of the inner work that you are supposed to be doing, um, you can be experiencing a very euphoric time. Um, you feel very connected with, like, nature, with all that is, with just everything, the trees, the earth, the divine feminine, the masculine, the sky, um, the stars, the galactic frequency. You feel very connected within that energy. You may start to experience an awakening in new gifts, an expansion of purpose. Um, and then if you have a lot of blocks, um, especially in the lower chakras, um, Kundalini activations can be very intense. And a lot of times there's a lot of physical symptoms that people start to experience that are Kundalini, um, responses to Kundalini being activated, and they have no idea that that's even what's happening to them. Um, you could start experiencing like a lot of pressure in your lower back, like this burning sensation. Um, Another thing that also came through, and I feel like this may be coming through for specific viewers, and I'm not saying it as a bad thing, but if you're experiencing something like herpes outbreaks, like, that came through specifically, like it's still part of an activation because it's suppressed energy in your root chakra that has nowhere to go. It's like this fire has nowhere to go, so it's just like it's like stuck there. Um, so it can come through, you know, it your energy field is weak in that area, so it's like if there's any weakness in a specific chakra, then whatever, you know, body parts or energetic vibrations that resonate with those areas, you can be um, presented with some physical symptoms or physical ailments that, you know, resonate within those specific zones. But I feel like for a lot of people, especially in week 3, which is interesting because the solar plexus is also the third chakra. So I feel like a lot of people are going to be working within the solar plexus, redefining self-worth, your value, believing in yourself, standing in your power, um, doing the things that you believe in. I feel like you're going to be taking a look at those type of energies, um, and how your beliefs about yourself or lack thereof, your self-worth, um, have been diminishing your light. I also feel like if you have a solar plexus that's out of alignment during this third week, you may feel really drained. Um, you may feel very fatigued, very tired. I feel like a lot of people start also um, you might experience like stomach problems, digestive issues. Um, People who are clearing this energy, there's also a group of people who are and have already been working within the solar plexus energy. I know that I've definitely been doing that. I feel like when you get to this week 3, you're going to experience a lot of like euphoria. There's going to be a lot of light codes that come in, and they're going to be very, very, very powerful. So I would highly recommend. Sorry, my eye's itching, but I would highly recommend really grounding yourself. And if you can, all right, so 2 things. Either if you can sit, and I would start to prepare yourself now for this energy, um, and I would recommend it um, to everyone. It's important to ground yourself, really anchor yourself. Um, so if you're someone who is working on healing within your solar plexus, if you can sit 15 minutes every day if possible, and you don't even necessarily have to get into a meditative, kind of space, but if you could sit in a chair and get 2 pieces of black tourmaline and place them under your feet, that's going to be really powerful. And number one, grounding and anchoring your energy, and also pulling out what's going to be burning up in your solar plexus, and pulling those energies out and grounding those energies to be recycled. If you're someone who your solar plexus is in alignment and is functional, what's coming through is to utilize the same method, but use 2 hematites. And if you're someone who your 9th through your 12th chakra is open, you can also utilize lotus stone in the same way. It's going to connect and anchor you even deeper into the earth star chakra. That's kind of what's coming through. But I think this energy is necessary. If you can stay in a space where you can focus on what's coming up for you, and you can focus on your self-healing, because, you know, I think what's really important is not to say what is going on in our world is not important, but unless we take a step back and we look at ourselves and we heal the things that are coming up that we need to heal within ourselves, then there's nothing that we can truly do to shift the energy in the world collectively. Like when we come in and we do the work that we need to do to heal ourselves, then our energetic imprint has an impact on the world, just like the next person and the next person. And when we each do that work that we need to do within ourselves, then we start to shift the energy grid on our planet. So even though what is happening is very important, it's also very important not to get caught up in distraction ploys, because all that's serving to do is to pull us away from connecting with it, and connecting and hearing the messages that are coming in from spirit, from God, through our guardian angels, from our heart, higher self, whatever resonates with you. It's time to take our power back. We're powerful beings, you know, we're powerful beings of light. And it's time for us to really turn that light on and connect with our divinity, reconnect with our purpose again. And of course, you know, in the 4th week, here we go with Azurite, focus. We have to focus on the work that's coming in. We have to focus on our healing. We have to focus on our call. A lot of people have been called into action. And I feel like that's going to, a lot of us have been called into action, and I feel like there is another wave of action with this full moon that's coming up. I believe it's in Aries. It's a fire sign. So that's just leadership, you know. It's a very active, like, energy, and very like a dominant energy as well. I think a lot of people are going to be stepping up in leadership positions, whether it's maybe you start to become an advocate for world peace, or you organize and advocate for local buying practices in your area. You know, whatever it is that you that you're passionate about, or that you connect with. Like, you may step up and you feel kind of like activated, like, I have to go and do this mission. Like, you feel like all of a sudden something says, I have to go and do this purpose, this mission, and you start speaking, or you have this voice that you never had before, and it's like, it's this purpose, this call being channeled through you from God, through the divine, that's into your heart space, that's pushing you out externally into the world, into action. So I feel like that's happening for a lot of people. And it's important that even in this distraction, because the only card that's actually not um, upright, well, all the cards are actually not upright except Amethyst. So I feel like it's going to be really hard for people to focus um, with all of the distraction stuff that's going on, but it's very important as much as possible that you try to stay centered, and you try to stay focused here and stay connected with spirit, because you're going to miss an important opportunity to heal. You're going to miss an important opportunity um, to kind of get the codes, to get the call that you need to really integrate a very important gift. Like, I feel like new gifts are being activated, new purposes, new messages are coming through. And if you're not focused and you're not available to hear that message, to hear that call, I feel like you're going to be stuck in this cycle again. I keep seeing cycles. Like, I feel like there's a gateway energy. I feel like there's a gateway energy here. And it's kind of like, all right, the clock is ticking. And you got to do this healing work. And you got to pay attention, because this gateway's still closing. And some people are going to be like, I'm paying attention, and I'm going to go through this portal, and I'm going to come out on this other side. And there's going to be people that are still on the other side, like, oh, I'm paying attention to this Kardashian that's pregnant, or, whatever's going on in the world. And they're going to miss that gateway. And they're going to be stuck in that same cycle and that same energy, while everybody else has ascended into a different space, into more abundance and joy and a different dimensional transitional energy. So I feel like there's a very important gateway that's happening in October, and I was kind of guided with this to pull a card. We're gonna see what comes up, but to pull a card from Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. So I'm going to pull a card from Wisdom of the Hidden Realms for the month of October. So October 1st to October 30th, as it relates to the collective crystalline energy and the crystalline grid of planet Earth. Let's see what comes up here. Keeper of the Scales. How perfect is that? Keeper of the Scales. So, immediately when that came up, it's perfect. Why? Because the Keeper of the Scales is Libra, right? And we're in Libran energy right now. So it takes me back to, remember I kept saying about, I feel there's this one energy here, and there's this other energy here. I feel like this is definitely leveling up. I feel like it reminds me of, in Egyptian symbology, where your heart is placed on a scale with a feather, and it's kind of like you're judged, almost like you're judged. So, there's a lesson here. Judgment's always about a lesson. Um, and you have to pay up. You know, you have to pay up. So I feel like this is where this karmic energy is coming from within um, this energy of the amethyst here. Um, so there's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming up. Work through it. Um, I can't stress that enough, because what is happening um, is we're healing because we're trying to transmute energy so we can lighten our load in a sense. So we have to transmute and burn that energy out. And I feel like that's why the solar plexus is also coming through so strongly. That fiery transmutive energy with amethyst, that violet flame energy. So if you work with Saint Germain and the violet flame, you're probably going to be using the violet flame a lot. And I really feel like the violet flame suspension is really active through our planet. So if you're a light worker or you do any grid work, very, very big to work with the violet flame on the planetary grid level too. Um, but I feel like it's time for us to level up. It's time for us to start making some choices here, so we become in alignment. And Libra's a sign of beauty, you know, bringing beauty back into ourselves, into our lives, harmony, peace, building healthy relationships. I feel like, I feel like the balance here, and I was actually thinking about this the other day, so it's interesting this card came up. I'm feeling like one side of the scale is kind of like, you know, it's about self. It's like being in a space where you love yourself, you have self-love, you take care, you honor yourself, you're connected with your spirit, you eat healthy foods, you take care of your body, you help other people, you're in the space of gratitude, and you're having a joyous, abundant life, like you're very tuned in. And then because you have that energy, the energy on the other side of the scale becomes balanced, because life mirrors back to you exactly what's inside of you. So if you have all this beauty and this love and this peace and these harmonious relationships that you cultivate in your life and in the world, then this other side of the scale technically should be balanced, because life is going to be fair. Life is always going to be fair to you. So if you feel imbalanced in your life, you need to take a look. You need to take a look at, I feel like, what's coming up here in this energy with amethyst, these addictions, patterns, codependency, expectations. I feel like this is where the heaviest part of the work is. And this holds the most opportunity for healing and transmutation. And I feel like this, even though, because this is how this actually came up, it's just, this is like solar plexus energy to me, this spark, this activation being blocked. I feel like when this energy is transmuted, this unlocks. So we become empowered in our purpose. We believe in ourselves. I think we redefine our worth, our, standards. And I don't mean standards in the term of like placing expectations on people, but, if your life isn't harmonious, if you don't feel at peace, if you don't have the basic things you need to survive, for example, you're going to start to step into your power, and you're going to change this. you're going to do things that bring you peace in yourself, because that's going to start to, on the other side of the scale, it's going to start to bring peace on your outside world. So you'll attract more peaceful people into your life. You'll attract, you start shifting. Maybe it's financial issues. Maybe you start getting like a financial coach, or you start working with someone to make your credit better. So in you doing that, you're building a more stable foundation for yourself. You're transmuting, you're changing that old energy. So when you shift that vibration and that scale starts to level out, then the outside world matches that energy. So it's like you can also look at the scales like the inner world and the outer world. Definitely a divine message. There's an 11 card here. So, So I'm going to pull one more card for you guys. Because I keep looking over at this deck. I'm going to pull a card from the Earth Magic deck here. And bear with me because I've been working with this deck a lot, because I work with it with the workshop that's coming up, and a lot of personal daily work that I've been working with Mother Earth and working with the feminine dimension. So let's see what wants to come up for Earth Magic here. So this card is going to be for the entire month of October, connecting with the divine feminine energy. What wants to come forth here for the month of, oops. Boom. I mean, this sums up everything we've been talking about. This is releasing what needs to go. This cycle of this energy, these addiction, these patterns, these things that we've been holding on to. And a lot of us, I mean, these things that are coming out have spanned for many lifetimes and many cycles. And this light, if you can see in the background, there's still light here. This light is still being shined on these things. It's like, you can release these, because what happens when the winter solstice happens is that it becomes dark, and it becomes kind of like frozen in time again, so very important. This autumn equinox, we just came out of that last week, that energy. We're still in that autumnal energy. A lot of shifts, a lot of changes happen during this period in time. Embrace these. These are everything is synchronistic, and everything comes up for a reason, and we have to do this work so we can bring more, we can bring more balance into our lives. We can bring more balance within ourselves, so that we can bring more balance to the outside world, because we need a world in balance. We need a world that where we love each other, there's peace and there's harmony, and we can have beautiful relationships with each other, not have race wars, and we put each other down and we don't support each other, or there's a supremacy, or a battle between the sexes. We're all one. We all are of divine resonance, divine by nature. So think it's very important that we really, really work within this energy. Um, so that's the crystal conscious reading for the month of October. And again, you can follow my crystal page on Instagram over at In the Rough Crystals. And my personal page is Chris _ In the Rough Crystals on Instagram. And again, there's two different pages. Most of the workshops and more of the reading stuff I post on Chris _ In the Rough Crystals. So you can check out my workshop that's going to be coming up on the 1st over there. And if you would like a crystal conscious reading that is tailored and very specific to the energy that you need to work in, even though this energy is collective, it's going to affect you as well. You can see specifically what energies that that are kind of going on with you on a conscious and an ascension level. And I also offer Crystal Trinity readings. The Trinity readings, they're 3 cards, but it's focused on everyone comes into this incarnation with 3 master crystals that's imprinted in them to master their energy, to master their lessons and their properties. And it doesn't mean you're only going to be attracted to these 3 crystals, but there are 3 crystals that you're supposed to master within this lifetime, and that you'll always be working with. So in the Crystal Trinities reading, those 3 master crystals would be revealed to you. And I also will pull in any channel messages from your guides, from any of the galactic councils that want to step forth in terms of those lessons. Sometimes messages come through from Atlantean priests, from Lemurians, inner earth cities, galactic councils, angelic guides, kind of different for everyone, but whatever needs to come up and come forth within your Trinity work will also come forth in that reading. So that's also available as well. And I also do general crystal readings where we also work within, and generally with the general crystal readings, I only like to do 1 card. And it's something you can do each month, and it's super affordable, and it's just 1 crystal that is important for you to work with within that month. So you don't have to physically have the crystal to be able to work within its energy. And that's something that when I work with people that do the readings that work within the crystalline energy, I teach them a lot about. You don't have to physically have the crystal. There's also crystalline codes, crystalline symbols that you can work with that carry that resonance and carry that energy. So you can do both. Sometimes I like to encode, like if you actually have the crystal, I like to actually encode your crystal with the ancient Devic symbol for that specific crystal. It's a very Atlantean practice. I do a lot of crystal healing and crystal work within the Atlantean template. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to either message me on Instagram, or you can email me at intheroughcrystals@gmail.com. So thanks for joining for this reading, and many blessings and healing for this very, very, very important work for the month of October. And I'll see you again this month, because we have another reading that's going to be coming up soon. But I will see you at the end of October for November's Crystal Consciousness reading. So thanks for joining, guys, and many blessings, and peace to you, and namaste, guys.